Hey there, welcome into this playoff edition of Bills Take Two. He's Vic Carucci, I'm Jonathan Acosta. We're taking a look at Sunday's AFC Wild Card matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. Vic, the Bills put together this incredible regular season going 13-4, but after some of the struggle, not the struggles, but after not being able to get to where they want to go these previous postseasons, this is the part of this season that they've been looking forward to, the playoffs. They can put their best month of football together and get to New Orleans with where they want to go. It all starts Sunday, though, against Denver. And, Vic, let's start on the offensive side of the football for the Bills. Josh Allen and this incredible Bills offense that they've had this season going to go up against one of the best defenses in the NFL in Denver's.
Yeah, it's really incredible to reference that as an incredible offense by Buffalo, because that isn't how we thought of it going into the year. At least it wasn't what I was expecting. Thought it would be good, but I think among others, I was of that camp that said they're going to take a step back or two, or perhaps struggle a bit before they get it right. That really has not been the case at all. Josh Allen pulling it all together, elevating those receivers. And getting the most out of everybody. And it is that balance that defines not only the ratio between passing and running the football, but also within the passing game, the number of receivers who get to be involved and the pressure that puts on opponents. And I think that's reflected in this team's ability to be historic with going through a full season of ranking as an only NFL team to do 30-plus touchdown passes, 30-plus rushing yards. That is astounding in and of itself, and it just tells you how difficult it is to defend this offense. And the Broncos, who I think entered this tournament on the strength of its defense, will have its hands full.
That's right. It's really, in this matchup, a matchup, at least on this side of the ball, of strength versus strength. The Bills, second in the NFL at 30.9 points per game. The Broncos' defense, third in the NFL, just allowing 18.3 points per game. And if you have to pick out one strength amongst each team, it relates to sacks. The Bills do a great job of protecting Josh Allen, and he does a great job of avoiding sacks, the lowest QB sack percentage in the NFL. On the flip side, the Broncos defense, the highest sack percentage in the NFL, 4 players with at least 7 sacks. Do you see that potentially being the X factor on that side of the ball if the Broncos can potentially get some pressure with Josh Allen, maybe with the 4-man front, considering they have one of the best defensive backs in Pat Surtain back there in the secondary?
Well, and I think the heart of this matchup, when I think of it, it goes right there. How this pass rush is going to maybe affect the game either favorably or, at least in my view, unfavorably for the Broncos, because I think it's less about their ability to get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush. That's always ideal because it allows you to play maximum coverage. It allows you to take away a lot of those pass routes and cause the quarterback to hold the ball a beat or two longer than he wants, and the pressure gets to him. What Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos, basically does is sell out with a blitzing attack. He will go after the quarterback with extra pass rushers, and obviously that's been successful for the most part, but it has a downside. The downside is when the quarterback is recognizing that, you get somebody of the elite talent that Josh Allen has. Not only does he have great protection from that offensive line and from others who get involved in protection with tight ends, running backs, but also his ability to just see where there is man coverage, because that is what is played behind blitzing. Man coverage, single coverage, and identifying those spots that he can take advantage of. Yes, the Broncos have Pat Surtain, and they have the ability to cover reasonably well. But there are too many, usually, people to cover and not a whole fleet of Pro Bowl or All-Pro defensive backs to handle that. So Josh is going to pick those out and I think pick apart a lot of that coverage. That's one thing. The other thing is in man coverage, defenders turn their back to the quarterback when they are running with the receiver. And what happens then? There becomes an open area beyond the line of scrimmage where Josh can pull the ball down and do what he can do as well, if not better, than anyone else, certainly as well as the best who do this, Lamar Jackson being, I guess, the other. Pull it down and run and move those sticks and make impactful big plays. Or, pretend he is running or do the thing where he acts like he's going to run and then pull up and throw, or pump fake and then run. It opens up so many, I think, options for him and for this offense when the opponent does what I think the Broncos are going to try to do, at least for the beginning part of this game, and that's come after full force, come after Josh Allen.
And Vic, when you talk about that man coverage right there, my mind goes to two players on this Bills offense that I think could be a key, and I want to get your thoughts on this. First off, Amari Cooper. You trade for a guy like Amari Cooper, not for the regular season, but for these moments when you're going up against these sort of defense, almost in basketball terms, like 3rd and 8, you got to go get a bucket. Can you throw it to Amari Cooper and he can get you a bucket? And then in the running back room, James Cook, maybe matched up against the linebacker in man coverage, an opportunity for him to maybe have a big day both in the receiving game, and we've seen what he's done on the ground game this year. Maybe the Bills having that balance between the pass game and the run game being key in this one. Who do you think, other than Josh Allen on offense, who could be that X factor for the Bills in this game on offense?
That's the beauty of this offense and of what Joe Brady has done with his play design, game planning, and play calling, is incorporate so many different people beyond the receiving core. And it is those running backs who I think can be so effective, not just James Cook, but also Ty Johnson, also Ray Davis. They can do so much in the way of creating more options and more problems for the defense, especially when you worry about an Amari Cooper. That is what he was brought in for, to be a difference-making, impactful player. It doesn't mean he has to have the most targets or double-digit targets or something like that, or double-digit catches. He just has to be a threat sometimes, and that can be enough to cause a defense to change some of its approach. Believe me, the Broncos D is going to be very aware of his presence, but Josh Allen is very aware that he has other capable people who can catch the football. Let's throw the tight ends into that conversation as well. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, they too will be making a difference, I think, or at least plays that can make a difference. And then Khalil Shakir never can forget about what he does when maybe the attention is elsewhere and you're looking for that slot guy underneath, and those short or intermediate throws become bigger gains.
3 All-Pros on that Broncos defense, led by Surtain, but also Nick Bonito and Zach Allen on that defensive front. On offense, they have Quinn Miners up front on that offensive line, who is an All-Pro, as well as Marvin Mims, the punt returner, explosive wide receiver. And as we look at the Broncos offense against the Bills defense, let's start with the Broncos offense being led by rookie quarterback Bo Nix, over 3,700 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He's had a great rookie season, and if it weren't for Jaden Daniels, we might be talking about Bo Nix possibly being the best rookie quarterback this season. But Sean McDermott, he has had a lot of success going up against rookie quarterbacks in his career. I believe the stat is 9-4 going up against rookie QB since he's been here in Buffalo. How much of a factor do you think that plays here in this matchup, Bo Nix making his first career playoff start coming into what's going to be a hostile environment at Highmark Stadium?
It has to be a factor that he comes in as a rookie, making his first NFL playoff appearance, and doing so on the road, doing so in a place where it'll be full-throated support for the Bills, and all kinds of noise that he's got to deal with for the issues of communication. And not just him, but I mean his offensive linemen, his receivers, all that has to be understood and relayed from the quarterback and up and down the line. And when you've got that din, when you've got that crowd making it so difficult, especially if you're closer to an end zone, you got your back to an end zone nearby, it will be a problem. It will be a challenge. Now, it's not to say that this guy has not functioned in high pressure environment at the collegiate level, but the NFL playoffs takes it to yet another level. And this is something he's experiencing for the first time. There is pressure on him to show that his rookie season not only allowed him to be the starter, but to help this team get to the postseason isn't an anomaly, and that this team has more than an impressive defense to go the distance. And look, to some degree, he may not know what he doesn't know as a rookie. That could benefit him, actually, to be so naive about it and so young in his approach or youthful in his thinking that he doesn't allow himself to be affected. But it would be hard for me to believe that won't play a factor. Why the Bills are 8-0 at home this season, you've heard Josh Allen talk about it, that he called it as much a fan-based stat as anything else because of the false starts that can be created, the delay of game penalties. And I suspect that that's going to happen to this Broncos team, that those are drive disruptors. I think those play with the head of the quarterback and others on offense, but especially the QB. And Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich, as far as the coaching and preparation, they have been working so hard and putting in a lot of hours, not just the week of this game, but prior to this, when they certainly had the Broncos on the very short list of potential opponents. They've been working schematically on ways to twist Bo Nix's brain into knots and make him see things that aren't necessarily there pre-snap, sort of see ghosts, if you will, when it comes to coverage and adjustments and pass rush. And then all of a sudden the real thing emerges once he takes the snap. Those are the kinds of things that I think have worked well for Sean McDermott, why he is a coach who I think takes pride, frankly, in when he goes up against these young quarterbacks, rookies, in these circumstances, knowing that you got to take full advantage of it, knowing you've got to make life as miserable as possible for them in the course of that game.
The Broncos' rushing attack isn't necessarily going to scare anyone with Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin and the rookie Audric Estime. It's not a team that runs the ball a whole lot, so they lean a little bit more on that passing attack with Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims, an explosive player, Devon Vele. The Bills' defense, some great pieces in the secondary led by Christian Benford, but we saw offensives be able to move the ball through the air on them kind of down the stretch. The Rams game, the Lions game, even Drake May in the game here in Orchard Park. What's your level of concern or confidence as it relates to this Bills secondary going up against the Broncos passing attack?
It has to be a concern when you rank near the bottom of the NFL defensively on third down. That is a real thing, and that is something they've got to address. You got to get off the field. And it does start, and we've heard Sean McDermott talk about this, it does start with getting to the quarterback, with having an effective pass rush. This is where Greg Rousseau, Von Miller, Ed Oliver, that whole crew, AJ Epinesa, they all have to have a say in what happens in this game with their performance, of course, by bringing pressure up the middle. I say for a guy who, in the case of Bo Nix, who is as mobile as he is, he's been favorably compared to Josh Allen with that mobility. Containment is so important. Making sure whatever he does, he has to do it from the pocket and actually make him throw. Make your secondary do its thing to take advantage of a guy who's trying to make those first or second or third reads, and usually for a rookie quarterback, very difficult to go through the full menu of read progression. So I think that's where the Bills secondary can take advantage of that, but it needs to show it can get off the field on third down. And when a team is mostly one-dimensional, like this Bronco offense is, throwing the football, to me, that works to their disadvantage. When the way you have success against the Bills defense, as we've seen, the teams that do it best do it with balance, do it with a run game, keeps them honest, keeps the defense on its heels, and I think slows down the pass rush. I don't see where the Broncos have the ability to do that on a consistent enough basis.
And Vic, one more matchup to take a look at is the coaching matchup. Sean McDermott versus Sean McDermott looking to get the Bills to a Super Bowl. Sean Payton has already done that in his time with the Saints, winning in the 2009 season. And we've already seen those two match up last year here in Orchard Park. The Broncos came in with what we thought was a washed-up Russell Wilson, found a way to win that game. A coaching blunder from the Bills late in that game with 12 men on the field for that field goal that let the Broncos eventually retry and kick the game-winning field goal. How much of a spotlight do you think Sean McDermott is under for this game, and how important is it for him to, if not win, at least not lose the coaching matchup against Sean Payton?
Well, I think Sean McDermott under definitely a bright light when it comes to the entire postseason. You know, he's got to do the thing. Though, if you're going down a list of what he has done well, there's so many boxes that get checked off in his time with the Bills to make him one of the better coaches in the league and to be an integral part of why this team is consistently a postseason contender. But people want to see, he wants to see, the Bills organization needs to see it go to fruition, to a Super Bowl. And so every postseason game is going to bring that hyper scrutiny to how he coaches it, because we've seen instances where there have been time management issues, where there have been those errors, those blunders in the course of a game from a coaching standpoint that has drawn the wrong kind of attention. Sean Payton is an excellent coach. And yes, this is a formidable matchup for anybody, whether he's Sean McDermott or even the most accomplished coach you can imagine, going up against a coach in Payton who frankly has a Hall of Fame spot awaiting him in Canton, Ohio. I think, yes, there will be those questions of whether in the course of this game, whether coaching influences the outcome. But I feel like there's a good sense of control and understanding from McDermott and his staff as to what needs to get done. And what I mean by that is learning from the past, learning those lessons that you should learn from when things haven't gone so well, and the familiarity of the moment. And dealing with a team, it's had some roster turnover. Yes, there are some players who have some of this experience, and there are those that don't. What I think Sean does best is get his players, for the most part, well prepared for these opportunities. Yeah, we saw that flat performance against the Bengals a couple of years ago. That Chiefs game last January was obviously not a shining moment, and there were some players who didn't necessarily bring their best stuff toward the end of that game. But I don't know how much of that I want to put on McDermott. It's just that the record of progression or lack thereof in the postseason is always going to be on the shoulders of the head coach.
And then, Vic, before we go, I do want to touch quickly on the All-Pro voting. Went down today. Josh Allen, the only All-Pro selection for the Bills. He was a second-team selection. No other Bills making the AP All-Pro team. Lamar Jackson gets the first-team nod over Josh Allen. In about 60 seconds or so, just your thoughts as a voter on that All-Pro selection, and maybe anything that we can glean from that as it comes to the MVP award that we'll find out about later on in February.
Well, first of all, I can reveal now that the All-Pro team has been announced that I did give Josh a first-place vote. I thought he, and still think, he's the best quarterback in the holistic sense in the NFL, and I thought he played that way. I take nothing away from Lamar Jackson, and I think Lamar's numbers obviously spoke very loudly to voters, and that doesn't surprise me. In my pecking order, it was Josh first and then Lamar as my second team guy. And I don't think I was alone in making that vote, but clearly more people voted the other way on that, and that's fine. As far as the MVP vote goes, and that will be announced on February 6th at the NFL Honors show, along with other individual honors on which we voted as the Associated Press panel. I don't think the All-Pro result necessarily reflects on how that MVP voting will go. Voting for a quarterback on an all-pro team and then voting for the most valuable player who's value to his team and value as it compares to others within the league, I think is a different metric, a different kind of conversation, at least in my opinion. So we'll see how that all turns out. But not surprising that more than Josh didn't get selected to this all-pro team, because this is not a team, this Bills team is not a star-laden team. It is a team that has one superstar and then a solid and good supporting cast that works well with him.
All righty, well, whether it's Lamar or Josh, for both of them, the end goal is getting to New Orleans in Super Bowl 59. The road to there starts this Sunday for the Bills in Orchard Park against the Broncos in the wild card round, a 1 o'clock kickoff at Highmark Stadium. For Vic Carucci, I'm Jonathan Acosta for Channel 2 Sports.